Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and it is a brand new episode of Who's That Cosplayer? And joining me today is somebody who I had met at MegaCon. Me and the crew, we were walking in the hallways, and then we ran into him. He was cosplaying as Shazam, and what did I pick? I picked you up, correct?
Yeah, I think it was you and Justin, but my boy.
I picked you up, and then we got a group photo together, and
Oh my
that is
gosh.
Jack Apollo Cosplays. Jack, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's always a good day here in Virginia, and
Oh,
yeah, man,
bet.
I'm excited. Are you excited?
Oh my gosh, very. So if you don't mind
Hey,
my asking, what part of Virginia are you recording from?
I am in Southern Virginia, so the seven five
Uh,
seven.
oh, bet. Yeah, because I attended college in Charlottesville, and then now I'm back in Alexandria. So always great to
Nice.
talk with a fellow Virginian.
Hey, right. That is awesome. Hey, yeah, so you're up there in Northern
Mhm.
Virginia, and then
Yep.
I'm up here in Southern Virginia. But hey, you know what they
Oh,
say?
bet.
Put the V up, the A down. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep. Oh, 100%.
so
hundred
yeah.
percent.
So before we get into today's interview, everybody that's watching,
Yeah.
make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And as D always says, podcast link down below in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. So, Jack, are you ready to get into today's interview?
Oh yeah. More than anything.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, the
Mhm.
first question that I ask each and every guest up here is, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So, tell everybody who you are.
Oh, bet. So, hey everybody, I'm Jack Apollo Cosplays, and it's a pleasure to be with y'all. I actually got my start with cosplay as early, I guess, as 2017 when I was seeing, I just got on my Instagram, I graduated from high school and was going into college, and I was seeing all these awesome photos from Comic Cons and just simple photo shoots of cosplayers, and it inspired me to get into, to really step into like the world of cosplay, but I didn't really get much into it until soon after I graduated from college. It was about 2021, and the only experience that I really had cosplaying up until then was just dressing up as my favorite characters for Halloween frat parties in undergrad. Like, yes, yes, like the Terminator, and just like building on the look, getting a better jacket, and then. But it really wasn't until 2021 I decided to attend Rhode Island Comic Con as my very first, just seeing a bunch of guests from Cobra Kai as well as the voice acting stage, that I really began to step into the cosplay community. And then from there, with all the interactions that I had with people and getting to step into characters like Danny Zuko, Roman Sionis from Birds of Prey, I started going to more and more cons in my area, like Katsu Con and then Galaxy Con Richmond. And then eventually my travels took me to my very first MegaCon Orlando, Dragon Con, and then Hallmat, where I really stepped into my role as quote unquote Con Elvis, really taking on the mannerisms of both Austin Butler's Elvis and also those of the real Elvis, like the thank you very much, and then being able to put my love for cosplay and singing into one. And so it's just, I look back on where I was last year, and then I just think to myself, am I really here today, going to all of these cons and making both making a name for myself, making a lot of friends, and just really being part of one of the warmest, most inviting communities. So that's my story in a nutshell.
And that was an awesome origin story, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, as I always say.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, I want to piggyback off of what you were saying
Mhm.
about,
Yeah.
cosplaying as Elvis. And, when I
Mhm.
had met you when you were cosplaying as Shazam, you
Yeah.
were Shazam Elvis. And I think that
Yeah.
it's really cool that you make your cosplays, or not your cosplays, but characters that you're
Mhm.
cosplaying as variants as Elvis.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I want to know, like, what was the
Yeah.
inspiration behind that? I mean, I know that you love Elvis and everything,
Mhm. Yeah.
but yeah, like, what inspired you to want to do this?
Yeah, so for me, it was because so a little bit about cosplaying Elvis for the very first time. I had done my very first Elvis cosplay at Hallmat, a downgraded version of the suit that I'm wearing right now, because back in 1968, Elvis made his comeback for on TV on an NBC special that really put him back on put him back in the music scene, and he was rocking like his longer sideburns again. His voice was once again ringing out, and people were jamming, enjoying it. And so, with that kind of spirit, and also looking at Elvis's own story, where he was inspired by superheroes like Captain Marvel Jr., being his number one, and being the hero that inspired like a lot of the motifs around him, such as the lightning bolt, the cape, and also his hairstyle. That's what really inspired me to step into it. And when I did my first Elvis crossover, Almighty Elvis, it was definitely inspired by that whole Shazam backstory, as well as All Might when you watch him in My Hero Academia, having the very booming, authoritative voice. Fear not, citizens, because I am here. And then Elvis Presley having that similar booming voice, but with a southern drawl and a very agreeable, respectable tone that just makes you want to be next to him. And so, since Elvis really fashioned himself around superheroes, I just felt that'd be a really cool way to bring my love for the comics as well as music and really put them into one. And being on the spectrum too is like getting a voice of my, or rather, adding another voice to my own plethora of voices and being able to bring that spirit to the Comic-Con community and just showing people what I really stand for.
Yeah, I love that. And so, another Elvis cosplay question. You perform at these conventions as the character that you're cosplaying as, the variant of Elvis. And like how you said about the Almighty Elvis, I think that's really cool because I love My Hero Academia. It's one of my current favorite animes that I enjoy watching today. So I want to ask you, which performance was one of your favorite ones that you've done so far?
Oh my gosh, that's a really hard question because even if these are quote unquote unofficial performances in which I'm just going around the cons on the elevators or going around the convention floor and serenading people as Elvis, there probably one of my favorites was performing with Emily Swallow doing that karaoke night. The night before you, Justin, and Maggie picked me up, and we had that great group photo. But for me, it was just I remember just being nervous as heck. I mean, I paid like about $100 to do the karaoke thing with Emily and get a picture with her afterwards, and then to be able to step up, especially not having seen too much of The Mandalorian, and then just continue to stay in character and channel my love for both Elvis, Austin Butler's performance, and just really feeling it was really something that just doesn't compare at all to anything because that day it actually just touched down in Orlando from Virginia, and so on the plane ride before I was watching the Elvis movie, specifically the If I Can Dream portion, to get into character, to also figure out what it was going to sound like, and then when I finally got into there, then had all those people applauding me both during and after the performance, and then the DJ or the MC saying that didn't know Austin Butler was going to be here. I mean, even though I watched the video and I think I was a little out of tune in those sections, or I could have done better with the timing. It still just brings a smile to my face just to be able to see that I was really myself and my character at the same time, and making an impression both on ordinary fellow ordinary cosplayers and a Hollywood name. So.
Yeah, I mean, that is an awesome story, and it's also an awesome memory that you can always cherish because, it's just one of those things where it's just like, like I did this really cool thing and I was able to, not only, perform with somebody else, but I was able to touch so many other cosplayers with my voice. So, I always think stuff like that's cool. As somebody that loves to sing, it's like it's always a fun time when you can sing with other people and just have a fun experience. So I think that's really awesome. So I want to touch 100%. I want to touch on something that we talked about off of the interview stuff. And you were trying to perform at HallMat this year. And I want to talk a little bit more about that because you have some big plans that you're trying to do for this. So let's get into that. Like, let everybody know what you're trying to do for HallMat this year.
Oh, yes. So the idea that I had for all of you guys who are going to be attending HallMat is going to be a 68 comeback special reenactment. And I'll get my phone so you guys can take a look at some pictures as well. But anyway, it's supposed to be modeled after, as Benji and I were talking about, it's modeled after the 68 comeback special that really put Elvis on the map and the cosplay that I'm currently wearing right now. So after a 7-year gap of making movies and then eventually going downhill, Elvis, at the suggestion, well, rather, at the direction of his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, and then the artistic production and direction of producer Steve Binder, decided to star in this NBC special where he was singing a lot of his old songs like Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, All Shook Up, Blue Suede Shoes, Jailhouse Rock. And so just looking at the videos, both from the original performance and then seeing just how much Elvis enjoyed being on the stage and interacting with the fans, I really want to be able to bring that to the Comic-Con community because it's another opportunity for me not only to share my music, but also to merge my love for anime with the character, because part of what I love about cosplay is just the dramatic aspect of it, the dramatic improv, being able to interact with other characters from other universes as it. So going back to the original question, what I had in mind was creating a lot of dynamics that from the 6-day comeback special, like a square stage and seats for in this case cosplayers in costume to sit all around, and then Elvis, or rather me, singing all of those songs. And then during that time, there's also going to be moments when Elvis calls out or sings at specific characters, and then has like a lot of moments. And then I just felt it'd be a really awesome opportunity to really pay homage to the original show, bring it onto the modern stage, and really just at the same time too celebrate this year being the 55th anniversary of the special. And with Austin Butler's success as Elvis last year, as well as an upcoming Priscilla movie this year, I just felt that the King really is stepping into relevance for everybody, or rather a lot of people once again. So be able to kind of herald that return just is really something that I'm passionate about, especially as somebody who loves history, who loves being able to make these events relatable, and as an educator, having that love for interacting with other people and just really touching their hearts really just what brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. And as somebody that's going to be at HallMat as well, I can't wait to see you perform on stage. And I think that it's really awesome that you are doing something that is pretty much the anniversary. That's just such a cool thing to do. And I want to go back to your almighty Elvis, because like I had just mentioned, My Hero Academia is one of my favorite animes in today's anime world. And I want to ask you, if you could have your own quirk that is not in My Hero Academia, what would your quirk be?
Oh my gosh, that is just a really hard, one of the hardest questions, but I definitely want something, and kind of going off of a similar Shazam interview where where some of the cast members like Jack Dylan Grazer, Zachary Levi, Rachel Zegler discussed I would answer similarly to Rachel and say teleportation, because it just makes it a heck of a lot easier to get around. And then if you're running late to work, you could easily just like pop something into your mouth after you wake up, and then teleport to work. And more importantly too, it would save you a lot of money and fees when you're traveling between cons. And
exactly, right? That's what I'm saying, man. Like, teleportation is the best thing. Like you said, with cons, me being a professional wrestler, like I wouldn't have to drive 20 hours somewhere. I could just teleport in the snap of a finger, and then after I'm done wrestling, teleport home.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah, teleportation, it is one of the most coolest powers in my opinion. Nightcrawler, he's one of my favorite X-Men, and that's one of the abilities that I always loved, was that he could teleport anywhere that he wanted to go. So, moving along, I want to ask you, out of all of the cosplays that you've done, the Elvis variants and all that good stuff that look amazing, what are 3 future cosplays that you would love to do variants of as Elvis?
Who's that cosplayer?
Kiwi Nina Mori.
Well, this year I'm currently trying to save up on some money for a con, so I'm not really looking at creating anything like new specifically, but one idea that I had for a variant was I want to see if I can buy a better black spider suit from heroestime.com, one of those Venom suits, and then bring together Spider Elvis, where it would be this,
that would be dope.
Oh yeah, it's because after watching Across the Spider-Verse, even though it was only my first time, I was still really impressed by seeing all the variants of Spider-Man to be able to bring together the badassery of Spider-Man swinging around and stopping bad guys in a pinch, and then of course bringing Elvis Presley's love for music. I just thought it'd be really cool to merge those together. So what I'd be doing is I'd be wearing the black spider suit underneath this comeback look as one, and then I'm also looking to upgrade. Because even though I love Elvis, one of the very first movies that really captivated me as a cosplayer was The Matrix, just with Keanu Reeves being very quiet, but at the same time really speaking more of his actions rather than his words, a trait that he carried over to John Wick. And so when you see him storm the building to rescue Morpheus in the very beginning, and then taking on those soldiers, and eventually the agent, especially Agent Smith, first in that movie, and then when he's fighting all those Smith clones in 2 and 3, I was looking to bring back Spider Neo once again, basically Neo, but with Spider-Man suit, similar to what I did for this. And then as as a third option, I don't really have much of a third, but one idea that I did have in mind was seeing if I could get one of those blue Shazam suits that Freddie Freeman wears, and suiting up as that and combining Elvis. Because as we were discussing earlier in the interview, Elvis' favorite superhero as a kid was Captain Marvel Jr., and so to be able to bring that back, especially after seeing one variant just like that at Dragon Con last year. And that was just something that really spoke to me, and to be able to once again pay homage to the history, but also to just like what the modern characters stand for these days is always something that I enjoy.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. One cosplay that I would love to recommend, and I think that would be really fire, literally, as Elvis variant, would be Rengoku Elvis variant, because he already has the cloak, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel if you could, come up with a fire inspired song that Elvis would think of, I think that would be really dope, man. And like, people love Rengoku. I was going to say Tengen at first, but then I thought about it and I was like, man, Rengoku already has the cloak. All you got to do is just, make it more fiery, make it like if Elvis is Rengoku, like how would Elvis's Rengoku look? So that's just something I was thinking.
100%. And now that you mentioned it, it actually made me remember that some time ago I actually tried out with see if I can find it here next to me. I tried white electrical tape to do an Elvis Hashira look, where it's basically the 68 comeback look, but with the white highlights, the Demon Slayer logo on the back. So maybe that might be something I do for Hall Mat this year, or perhaps Attack on Titan Elvis as well. Basically, that would be the Survey Corps jacket. The same outfit here, but just with a Survey Corps jacket. But a lot of the same stuff, like obviously me styling my hair, this biker watch, and this bracelet, and of course you can't forget the mic either.
Exactly. Now that we're even going further with other ideas, man, I'm thinking you could do Piccolo Elvis. I'm just there's just so many variants out there that you can do, and one of the things that I love about your variants is it is something that I want to do myself when it comes to cosplay. I want to be a cosplayer that does different variants of some of my favorite characters, and I don't want to say any up here because it's like you never know who's watching and be like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to do it in the snap of a finger. So I'm keeping those ones right here, but
100%. That's what I just love. After you, man.
No. I was just going to say, like, there's just so many variants I want to do, but yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, going back on that's something that I love about the idea of variants as well, because even from the time like before I was actually cosplaying, I was drawing. If you don't mind, if I show you some of my art in here, I always loved the idea of a multiverse where it's like different characters from different universes coming out together. And so here's one that I did with a lot of the Transformers, Homelander, Doki, Neo. And what I just love about this whole concept of both for like 2D art as well as cosplay as my own hobby is just the kind of imagination that you see from all kinds of people, like one guy in Mega last year who was doing a Captain America-esque Deadpool, and then another guy on Instagram that I saw who was doing like banana Spidey, basically Spidey, but with underneath a banana costume. So it just seeing all that kind of seeing all the humor and just the creativity is what really just keeps us going and really makes us feel so human, for lack of a better term. Because to be human is to be creative, in my opinion, and to be able to really, as Rengoku said in Demon Slayer, do something that sets your heart on fire. And so for a lot of us, I mean, for me, it's a lot of things. It's like music and cosplay and art and traveling. And so to be able to channel all of that into something that some people may see as like, especially the older generations might see as like somewhat useless or childish, but in essence really gets us connecting with other people is what's kept me in the cosplay community all this time.
Yeah, I love that, man. So, I want to ask you one final question before we wrap this thing up. And that is because you just showed me some art that you did. What are some of your other hobbies that you enjoy doing when you're not cosplaying?
Oh my gosh, great question. So, I mean, these days, I mean, I'm obviously a bit busier because of work and as of recently some new classes that I'm taking. But some of my favorite hobbies include, like, just like you, watching anime, watching movies, drawing, of course, straight razor shaving, and then whenever I have the opportunity, whenever I have the energy, going out for drives in the countryside because it's just really therapeutic, very relaxing. And then on some of those drives, I enjoy going to antique shops, picking up old straight razors like what like our grandparents would have shaved with, and then being able to, especially when I pick up a good piece, whether from eBay or from an antique shop person, being able to restore that, put it on a series of sharpening stones and be able to shave with it is just really satisfying. And especially when I get to bring the straight razors to cosplay, because like being able to, even if being in costume is part of it, I also like to the whole act of being able to get together, like to find a good shaving soap and then a good cologne, and then to top off feel really smooth and just be ready to take on the day ahead of you.
Yeah, man, that's pretty dope, man. I always feel that going to thrift stores or antique shops, like you're always going to be able to find something really cool, something unique. I remember the last time I had went to a thrift store, I every time I go, I always go to the book section to see if they have if they have any manga there, any comic books. And I had came across a Mr. T comic book. And I never even knew that Mr. T had a comic book, but he was so popular back in the 80s. Like Mr. T was just everywhere. So I bought the comic book. It was only like $1. And I had gave it to my tag partner. I need to see if he still even has it, because he probably just thought it was a joke. But, I was just like, man, like, I think this is a cool gift because it's a Mr. T comic book. How many people can say that they have a Mr. T comic book in 2023? So I know I said that was the final question, but I do actually have one more final question before we wrap this thing up. And this is the final question to wrap this interview up. What is your favorite Elvis Presley song?
Oh my gosh, there's way too many to think of, but
top three.
As of now,
give me your top three.
Okay, yes. So one of my favorites is actually a medley of three of them: the Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, and All Shook Up for the 60th Comeback Special, Blue Christmas, especially the acoustic version that he played in that same show, and then If I Can Dream, just because, especially even though growing up as an Asian American, things were a bit different. I definitely love how the song was written with people such as MLK in mind, the civil rights movement, particularly during the 1968. During the 68, when we were beginning to finally integrate schools, integrate our communities, and so with when Elvis sang that, and especially with his passion and the white suit and being able to, that's just something that really stood out to me, both for the artistic value, but also like the historical and just the emotional value of it as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I think that those were, great choices, and I feel like that was a good way to wrap this interview up. So, Jack, thank you so much for joining me up here on Who's That Cosplayer. And before I let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
All right. Well, if you're looking for me you can just put together the name over here, Jack Paulo Cosplays, put that into one, and then find me on Instagram and TikTok as well. And I'll be as long as you've at least graduated from high school, I'd be more than happy to follow you and for you to follow me as well. And and even though we're kind of wrapping this up, hope you wouldn't mind if I mention one more thing too.
Yeah, go ahead.
So since we were talking about like Hall Mat and the 23 Hall Mat special, I actually hope you wouldn't mind if we had a bit more wouldn't mind discussing that a little bit more in depth before we.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go
Awesome.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So another aspect that I wanted to discuss with you guys is that for that I'm actually some friends and I and the cosplay community are actually working on an outreach to celebrity Rachel Zegler. So have you ever heard of West Side Story at all? Watched the movie?
I've heard of it, but I have not watched it yet.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because even though I still have yet to see it. I mean, I've watched Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which is her which is Rachel's second role in Hollywood movies, and then later this year, she's going to be starring as Lucy Greybeard. I think that's how you pronounce her last name in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the Hunger Games prequel, and President Snow's story. And then next year, she's going to be starring alongside Gal Gadot as Snow White. So anyway, piggybacking off of that, we're actually doing an outreach to her to guest at Hall Mat, like more of like an on her dime appearance, but also to hopefully guest at my panel if it goes through, because in Shazam 2 she plays Anthea, aka Anne, the goddess of Axis. Axis in a turning point, and in that movie she also falls in love with Freddie Freeman, who in the original movies was Captain Marvel Jr., Elvis. We keep on discussing Elvis's favorite superhero, kind of his comic book idol, and the inspiration behind a lot of his eccentric suits in the 70s. And so I felt that, inviting her over, talking about the Shazam Elvis connection, especially after having gotten to meet Zachary Levi at MegaCon Orlando this year, and just the fact that she's an amazing singer would really be something that would inspire a lot of people, and really just make a lot of people's holidays as they enjoy some good music and get to interact with somebody who really has that, both artistic and also musical talent.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that, by the fingers crossed and the pinkies up, that she agrees to do this, because I think that it would be a cool thing for not only her to experience Hall Mat, especially with this being the last year that they're going to be in the location that they're going to be at. And I'm excited to be going there too, because like I've heard so many great things about Hall Mat over the years, and this is a location that a lot of people are fond of, and it just sucks that they're no longer going to be there. So I feel like this is going to be like a huge celebration for all the years that Hall Mat has been there, and it's a huge celebration for the people that have been going there for over the years. So I hope that she does come to it, and like you said, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a celebration. Everybody's going to be doing their thing, singing, dancing in the moon. Like I posted that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I posted that on my thing today on Instagram. So yeah, man, Rachel, if you see this, come to it. And Jack, I hope that when you talk to her, I hope that she says, you know what, let's rock. So with that being said, you can follow me at Harold Benjamin Banks at KingBenji_Banks on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you, everybody, for watching this interview. Make sure you check out some more interviews that we have here on the channel. Check out the podcast. We have brand new episodes every Tuesday. The link is down below in the description. And like I always say, keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And as we always say in My Hero Academia, plus ultra.
No, we don't say plus ultra. We say go beyond plus
ultra.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.